Welcome to another episode of Trap Talk, brought to you by Krieghoff.
Krieghoff, the best gun in the industry, in my opinion.
Hey, you know what? I got the shirt. You got the hat. We're looking good.
And I got it for sale. If anybody needs one, call me at Game Masters. We got a good inventory of Krieghoffs right now.
I mean, hey, they're coming out. Last year they were a little tight where we had to wait in advance to get them. Now they're coming in. That's exciting.
I got several Krieghoffs in stock, standards, engraved ones. I've got some high-end engraved ones. Yep, let me know.
I'm thinking I need a high-end engraved one, Ricky.
I could hook you up.
So today, exciting episode. We talk a little bit about what's coming up, which we've got the ShotCo.
Yep.
We've got Spring Grand. We've got your clinic schedule, right?
Yep. Spring Grand, though, we are giving away a shot tracker.
Correct.
And then some Pillas glasses. So
yep. We've got Shot Tracker giving one away. We've got Shotguns West. Ryan Castani giving away a set of Pillas because they're our glasses sponsor for the show. So you need to be present to win that. Yep. But we are going to be doing it at the Spring Grand. More details to follow. Yeah, I think we're going to be doing it Thursday night.
Probably Thursday night, I'm thinking.
Because of the shoot-offs on Friday. But we're going to get those details hammered out, and we're going to get them out to you as soon as possible. But, great show. Today's focus was really talking a little bit about the clinic process and, what it takes, what's one of Ricky's clinics like. And I think there's a lot of valuable takeaways in it for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a good episode. We'll talk about that. We'll talk a little bit about Leo's style of shooting, my whole clinic schedule, part of it actually, and so on. So if anybody wanting a clinic, let me know.
Well, with that being said, let's get on to the show.
Let's get to the show.
Before we get to the show, we do got to thank all of our awesome show sponsors that make this possible every day. Starting off with Wenig. They've supported me and Ricky for a very long time, and they make a fabulous product.
Yeah, winners shoot Wenig. I've been with them since about 2005, and I wouldn't be where I'm at without Wenig, so I really appreciate all the support. So get a hold of Bobby, Luke, or Bill on the phone at the shoot. They'll get you in to get you a custom stock made.
Remington, they've sponsored me personally for many years, and now they're sponsoring the show, and they make a great shell, the STS and the Nitro line. I've been smoking targets from coast to coast with these bad boys. Also, we have Game Masters 2. Our one and only Richard Marshall Jr. is there to service all of your gun needs.
Yeah, I can help you out. Give me an email, call, whatever. See me at the shoots. We got vendor buildings in Tucson, Ohio, and at Sparta. So get a hold of me or anybody else at the store, and we can help you out.
Yeah, I do like seeing you at the shoots, Rick, and the Tucson, and that kind of brings us to Tucson now. Another sponsor we have on is Shot Tracker for Season 2, and they are giving away a shot tracker at the Spring Grand, right, Rick? Is that correct?
Yep, we're going to give one away, and you got to be present to win, so show up to the Spring Grand. It's like having a coach on the end of your barrel. I can tell you, I've been with them since day one, and it really helps with doubles especially. You see in the graph of your transition from your first target to your second target.
So that's exciting, guys. Mark your calendars for the Spring Grand. We're going to do a live episode. We're going to give one of these bad boys away. Make sure you're there. That brings me to my next show sponsor. Shotguns West is our Pillas sponsor. They're doing the glasses, and they've also agreed to join up and give a pair of Pillas away at the Spring Grand in addition. So not only can you win a shot tracker, but you can win a brand new set of Pillas. So that much more of a reason why you're going to want to go to the Spring Grand this year. Another new sponsor, Outlaw Engineering. Good friends with Ricky, longtime trap shooting family, right, Rick?
Yeah, Randy Freston II is the owner of Outlaw Engineering. His dad, Randy Freston, was past president of the ATA. They're from Utah. So get a hold of him at outlawengineering.com for all your engineering, survey, and development needs.
We've got a new show sponsor, White Flyer, America's Best. Rick, you know a little something about breaking white flyers, don't you?
Yeah, I've been smoking white flyers for years, and I was part of the development of the new Eco Flyer target that'll be available here in 24 or 25. they smoke great for an eco flyer. I mean, it is awesome. Really looking forward to that.
Also, we've got SOS Clays. We had Greg on the show.
Yep.
Did an episode. If you missed it, I would definitely listen to that episode. There's a lot of great valuable information. Rick, what's your experience with SOS?
You know, I've used SOS since they've come out, and I really love their app, and it's free also, but you can see scores live. That's what I love about it versus the old way of, wait until the end of the day till score sheets, printed up on the scoreboard. So it's just awesome. So get a hold of Greg at sosclays.com. It's the best shoot software out there.
One last familiar sponsor is Gun and Trophy Insurance. Ricky, you know a little bit about them, don't you?
I've been with Gun and Trophy. They've been a personal sponsor of mine for years. And get a hold of Cole or Larry Cushman over there. They can get you the best price for insurance on your firearms or your trophy animals. So we really appreciate them coming on the show.
With that being said, Trap Talk listeners, if you love everything about Trap Talk, please subscribe to our page. Also, throw some likes on the videos that you enjoy. It really means the world to us.
Yeah, comment on each episode. We read them. We respond to them. With that, let's get to the show.
Welcome to Season 2 of Trap Talk.
Brought to you by Krieghoff.
Welcome to another episode of Trap Talk. I'm your host, Zach Nannini, and I'm here with my co-host and good friend, Richard Marshall Jr., where we're going to discuss a little bit about the journey of trap, right? I mean, another episode, Talking Trap, right, Rick?
Right, talking shooting. That's what we do.
Shooting.
Yeah.
So, right now, me and Ricky are in the off season, and we're getting ready for our trip to ShotCo, right, Rick?
Yep.
So
heading up to SHOT here in a couple weeks, I guess.
Now you're driving or you're flying, or what's your scenario?
Yeah, so I'm going to drive out. Tyler's going with me, and we've got a couple events there to do with Fiocchi. And then Tyler's never been to SHOT, so this will be his first trip because you have to be at least 16 to go, and so he got invited by the Fiocchi to come, and so we'll do that. But when I get there, we're going early because I'm going to do some private lessons at the Clark County shooting complex.
How far is Clark County away from ShotCo?
Oh, it's in North Vegas where they have the state shoot. You'd know if you'd come out and shoot with us. But
hey, honestly, I've shot in Nevada, but I've never shot Clark County. I've never shot Las Vegas Gun Club. I've shot in Reno quite a bit. At Sage Hill back when they had it. The Golden West Grand. Many years I shot that and I enjoyed it. And then boom, it's gone. So it is what it is. But
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be it's about a 18-hour drive, I guess, to Vegas. So
yeah,
Tyler and I are going to head out as soon as he gets out of school on Friday. I don't know if we're going to leave at lunchtime or after lunch. Depends on what his schedule is.
Well, you don't want to drive hungry, so I'm assuming after lunch.
Well, yeah, I'll let him eat. He'll eat the whole way. I mean, but he is 16, so Mama's not home, so I'm gonna let him drive a little bit. So
after SHOT, what do you got going on?
I'm gonna leave Vegas. Tyler's flying home. I'm gonna drive down and to Tucson and do some lessons down there for 4 or 5 days, and then leave my truck and fly home, and because my fifth wheel's down there. At the Tucson Trap and Skeet, and so I'll stay there and do lessons, fly home, and I'll be home till I think like the 15th or so. I'm heading to Alta Mesa Gun Club in Northern California. It's in I think Galt,
yeah,
Elk Grove area, right south of Sacramento. So
yeah, I know right where you're going. I mean, being from San Jose my whole life, I mean, that area is just a couple hours away from where I grew up. So you're going to be in my old stomping grounds.
Yeah, it's about an hour from Dave Kelly. So
Well, you might have to go say hi to Dave Kelly for us. I mean, if you get some
I'll
time.
see him. I'm sure I'll probably maybe go stay with him one night after the class is over, because I'm doing a Friday adult only class, which is already full, and then scheduled to do a Saturday and a Sunday, one day each, youth students.
Okay.
So hopefully both days will get filled up and do that. And then I'm going to go to your old stomping grounds on that Monday.
Sunnyvale.
Sunnyvale Rod and Gun Club.
Yeah, that's the place to go to. I mean,
that I did that lesson with you out there.
Rick, I got to tell you,
You were still in high school. Well, you're still homeschooled.
I was still homeschooled, but yeah, I mean, it was, it had to have been like my first or second year in the junior category. So I couldn't have been more than 16. I mean, so that's 16 years ago, because I'm 32. Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, 10 years ago it would have been 14. So, I mean, it was 2007 or 8. I mean, somewhere in that zone.
I was going to say it was a long time ago, but yeah, so I've got a couple private students that are wanting me to come do little half-day lessons there on that Monday, and then I'll fly out Monday night because I've got to be down into Tucson. I'm teaching down there probably on the 20th till the start of the main week of the Spring Grand.
Well, there you go. And then I'm flying in. So, the good news is circling back to the SHOT Show. We've been going for a few years. That's kind of been our bros trip every year. We go together and we check it out and have a good time and get to see a lot of the sponsors, get to see a lot of people in the industry. The good news is, for our listeners, John is going to be attending this year with us as our producer, Slinker. And so we've got some cool content that we're going to shoot. And I would say if there's anything that you guys want us to check out, or if there's any questions that you guys want to ask while we're at SHOT Show, send them in to the show, and we'll see if we can't get it done while we're down there. Because we're gonna have all our recording equipment, and we're gonna definitely try to get some cool interviews in that you all will enjoy. So I'm personally looking forward to it, mostly to the buffets. I've been googling buffets, Rick, and the Win is supposed to have the best buffet in all of Las Vegas. $75 for all you can eat, and it's $31 for bottomless drinks, and you can stay as long as you want. So I'm thinking,
we're trying to lose some LBs. I'm really trying over here. I know you've done well, me not so well. I'm trying to in the off season, the LBs tend to get on then get off. So I don't think I'll be partake. I'll come along. I might do the bottomless drinks if it's some good bourbon or something.
I don't know if it's good. I think it's more of just to get the effect on $31 all you can drink. But we can drink our pain away at the SHOT Show. So
yeah, it's going to be a good time. I mean, it is. It's the SHOT, and like Zach said, to all our listeners out there and followers, if you got any companies, you're like, hey, what about this? I saw this. Hey, it doesn't have to be, trap shooting related at all.
Yeah.
Because we're going to do some stuff. I know I want to go down, and there's some longtime friends that are not in the shooting industry and trap shooting so much, but, Mile High Shooting Accessories.
Yep.
They're there. And so I'd like to go stop and see them. And
yeah, it's and just for people that haven't heard of SHOT Show, which I don't know if there's many that listen to our show, but it's for industry people. So it's not an open show for everyone to go to. So thankfully, we get to go every year. But White Flyers is going to be there. We'll probably end up talking to them. I know Vista Outdoors is going to be there, Remington show sponsor. And like Rick said, Fiocchi's going to be there. So we're going to, we'll be checking out a bunch of different places and seeing some old friends. So it's kind of what is cool for me, going to college the way I did and being with a lot of other shooters that, got business degrees and that got in the industry is I go to SHOT Show and there's like 5 to 10 people that I used to go to college with that are now working in the industry, which just shows, opening the door of what you can do with shotgun shooting, because I think it's like, okay, these guys were shotgun shooters and now they're working for Beretta, they're working for Benelli, they're working for Winchester, they're working for, Vista, whatever, SIG, whatever it might be. And, they wouldn't have had that opportunity if they didn't, start in that field and get educated. And I think it's both, right? You've got to get the degree along with build the connections, and that definitely helps. But
oh, absolutely, and it is. And I know, what was it, a couple years ago when we were there, and you're off, with old college people drinking in the back of booths and stuff. I'm like, Zach, where you at?
I was doing business.
Yeah, getting free drinks.
Hey, Buffalo Trace was calling my name. What can I say? But
hello, Trap Talk listeners. Zach Nannini here, and I'd like to thank our show sponsor, Remington. And today, I would like to go into what shells I use when I'm training and when I'm shooting tournaments. First of all, we start with the Gun Club. This is a great shell. I shoot an 1145 ounce and 1/8, and this is what I shoot for singles and both shots of doubles. The only reason I don't shoot this in tournaments is because I like a little bit of a harder shot, a little bit of a harder break, but it works great, and it's the same speed as this STS shell. So this STS shell, a little bit harder shot, figure 8 wad column, smokes the targets a little bit harder. Also, I shoot for singles and doubles, both shots. And then when I go to the back fence and I want to put the smoke on them, I bring out the Nitro 27 ounce and 8, 7.5. It's a 1235 shell, blast the targets, works really well. I hope these shells work for you, and I want to thank Remington for supporting Trap Talk.
That being said, the direction of the show when we just kind of went on an 8-minute rant, which that goes by, it goes by really quick with me and Rick. We just start talking and 9 minutes goes by. But really, we've had a lot of people, and this is what I'm hearing, so you can tell me if it's different, but we've had a lot of people ask questions about doing clinics with Ricky, or just clinics in general. Like, what's a clinic? What's it about? Why do one? Those kind of questions that we're getting in. And, and with, Ricky traveling and teaching a lot, I thought it would kind of be a big, a good topic to introduce today, because, he's going into clinic season right now. He's traveling to California. We just talked on this first 8 minutes to a few different places, and people are excited about it. So, I guess my first question to you, Rick, is, why do a clinic, and what's the format of a general clinic without getting too specific? I know you want to educate people when they get there, but kind of what's the format that you like to perform when you're doing them?
So, why to take a clinic? So, I was 13 years old. Let's just go back. We'll go back when I started. I was 13 years old. My dad shot a little bit. He wasn't, no All-American shooter at all. He never shot any registered trap, but just at a hunt club, fun with the guys type deal. And so he didn't know how to really teach me the fundamentals, because trap shooting, basics, fundamentals. And then it goes a step further and, into, making sure everything's good. But I took a clinic to, number one, learn the fundamentals properly and get better. And I was fortunate. My coach and mentor, Frank Hoppy, was one heck of an instructor. And did I know that at the time? No, I just knew he was a top shooter. My dad said it in state Nebraska. I hit it off with Frank, blah, blah, blah. The rest is history. But, you want to take a clinic to improve, no matter what it is. I do lessons with brand new shooters that have never picked up a gun before. And I take them out. A lot of those I like to work one-on-one with, but you take a clinic to improve, no matter if you're an All-American. I've got world champions, I've got state champions, national champions that I've worked with. So you take it to get better, first and foremost. Now, the format of a clinic, say a 2-day class, you're going to shoot in a 2-day class, or we'll start with a 1-day. Let's just back it up. We'll go 1-day class. You're going to shoot singles, and then you're going to shoot handicap, and then you're going to shoot doubles, after lunch, handicap and doubles after lunch. But I start off a class with, letting everybody shoot. And the reason I do that, and it's no secret, I do it because I want to see what you're doing wrong. Okay.
Correct.
That's the first thing. If I say I'm taking you, Zach, and we go out and you're like, hey, I want to improve. Okay. And you mount the gun, I say, no. This is what I want you to do. Well, I'm teaching you how I shoot.
Correct.
Versus I take your style and mold it to make
meld it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so just to speak on my own experience, I personally have never taken any other clinic besides Ricky's clinic. So I haven't, got a lot of other experience from other clinics at this point in my time. But what I can say, you know, going back 16 years to when you did the first one, is at the time I was a multi-time All-American who was shooting, you know, pretty good. I mean, I was winning in my category. I was definitely one of the top guys in that category.
Yes.
And what I can say is, you know, I wasn't like, oh, well, you know, I kind of thought to myself, well, you know, what am I going to really learn, right? I was excited to see Ricky. I was excited to be around someone that with that much knowledge, but I was, you know, I was almost a little hesitant in the back of my mind saying, well, you know, what am I going to learn that, you know, that I don't already know, you know, and 16 years has gone by, and, you know, that mentality was just so stupid at the time, right? Like, it's like you're at the beginning of your game and you're pissing vinegar and you think you're the greatest thing in the world. You're walking in like you're Rich Bullard, 6.5 feet, 6'5" tall. And, you know, it's just, you just think you got it, you know, cause you just broke your first 100 in singles and you're like, oh yeah, I got this. Right. And so Ricky came in and, you know, one of the things that I remember working on that was so crucial was footwork. And we did, you know, he said, you know, I don't want you to change your hold points. I don't want you to change, you know, the way you're breaking the target. I don't want to change the way you're looking. I don't want you to change anything. What I want you to change is your feet. And so for me, the whole weekend was just footwork and pressing to the target. And that was another layer of the game that I didn't have. And I think that's where I seen my double shoot up like at least a bird in average, maybe even more than a bird in average from year one to year two, because I was having trouble getting to the second target. And so, you know, Ricky did a good job of opening up my body so that I could finish where that target was and I could turn and I could rotate the way that you need to. And so, you know, that experience opened my mind to, I don't know what I don't know. And I think, you know, I recommend learning from a lot of different people because you don't know what you don't know. And going in it with a I know everything mentality is not really conducive of getting better. So, you know, I'm surprised you said you get singles, doubles, and handicap in a one-day clinic. I mean, that's a lot.
Day. Well, when I do a 1 day, I'll do 10 people max, no more than 10 at all. And it's a shortened version of a 2 day class, you know, because it's compacted into 1 day. But I also stay a little bit longer at times than a 1 day.
Yeah.
You know, we're shooting. There's a lot of shooting going on and a little less talking. You know, but yeah, we're gonna shoot usually in a 1 day. I'll start everybody off shooting, you know, 25 or 50 singles. Get this. All right, fine. Now I go into gun fit. Check the gun fit. Make sure everything's looks good, you know, adjust combs, ribs, whatever. Then I take and you just set the trap on straightaway, let them shoot targets and adjust the gun if needed to get that break more centered, okay? And if everything's good there, I hardly ever go to a patterning board anymore just because we're shooting a moving target, not a stationary target. So
correct.
I don't do much of that at all anymore. And the reason why, one, it used to take up so much time of, you know, oh, yeah, yep, your pattern's good, you know, on where.
But is it really good, right? Like, is it good? Because just because it's good on the board, oh, my pattern's 60-40, my pattern's 80-20, my pattern's 100%. Who the hell cares what the pattern is? Because I mean, it's two-dimensional versus three-dimensional. One's dynamic and one's static. When you're shooting into a static patterning board, you're getting one level of information. Well, how about if you're moving the gun into the target? If you're moving the gun into the target,
changes,
you know, with energy, right? Whether it's, you know, gun speed or whatever it might be to get you there, that's going to change how the gun technically shoots. Because as you're pulling the trigger, you're still pushing through the target, right, Rick?
Absolutely. And everybody's different. Some people will try to float a target with a little higher point impact, where I drive through it, you drive through it.
I drive through it. So I mean, and I've been thinking a lot about that. And it's like, if you're driving through the target, yeah, you're going to be able to get away with more lower point of impacts like me and you do, because we're making up for that with gun speed. If we were, if we weren't finishing that shot, then we could use higher point of impact.
Exactly. Now, back it up. Yesterday you were down at Wenig. Okay. Now, you'll shoot the patterning board there to make sure everything's straight.
Left, right, up, down.
That's it.
Left,
okay?
right, more than anything.
Anything. Exactly. Because we know now if I shoot it and go, my pattern's not supposed to be up here, there's something wrong. I know that. Okay. But
Correct.
that's why with me in a class, I shoot targets because I can, on a straightaway, okay, I can tell, like, yep, they're a little bit under it, or, no, they're chopping the tops off. Let's try to get the point of impact down a little bit or do something, okay? Then, once that's good, then we'll shoot a few more rounds of singles, start with a little handicap, whatever yardage you are,
Yeah.
and break for lunch. Discuss everything. I've got a few things that I hand out. A sheet of paper has some, 15 things that we can really work on.
Yeah, I remember it was your tips, like your tips of like, hey, these are the things that
Yep.
I would recommend you work on.
Yeah,
And these
one
are
of
the
the
things.
biggest ones is goals. That's one of the things I talk about in class is your goals. And usually a lot of that is more individual, but whatever. But and like you already stated, the foot position.
Correct.
That is number one, in my opinion, is your feet position. If your feet aren't right, because everybody's built different, everybody turns different, is more flexible than others. I know when I was, 15, 16 years old, I could stand however I wanted and break a target. But I look at it as, can you stand that way and break 500 targets?
Yeah, and it was one of those things, like I said, the callousness of your youth, right? You're young, and you're like, well, I can do it this way, and you can. You can definitely, like, you've got the muscles and the twitch and the ability to be able to say, okay, I'm going to stand the wrong way, and I can still throw my body to that target and break it, but how many times can you do it, first of all, and how much strain are you putting on your body, right? Like how much more activity are you using? I would say the goal would be break the target with the least amount of effort possible in my mind, right? I mean, if you want to be able to do it, 1,000 times, break it with the least effort, not with the most effort.
Yeah.
Hello, Trap Talk listeners. Today's episode is brought to you by Wenig Custom Gun Stocks.
That being said, a custom gun stock is going to elevate your game to get the same fit every single time.
And I can attest to that. I broke hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hundreds with my Wenig Custom Gun Stock.
I haven't broke hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, Rick, but I did break 100 from the 27 within 7 days of getting my stock and broke 2 more that year and loved it.
Here, this is okay.
Did you take it or me?
We'd like to thank Wenig Custom Gun Stocks for supporting Trap Talk.
That being said, everyone knows.
Winners shoot Wenig.
Are we doing the end work?
My line with you is always the hundreds and hundreds of hundreds I've broken.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
But in the hundreds, there's a few hundreds in there that, Zach, I'm not kidding you. I'm like, I get done, and I've told Jody this or told my dad this. I'm like, that was one of the easiest hundreds I've ever broke. It was like everything just, and it was weird. And every time I walk up to a station, I look at my feet, going back to the feet. And that is the most important thing, is how you stand. Everybody's a little different. And I always tell people, I give a rough guideline, like, hey, this is how I want you to try to stand here. Let's work on it. Now, it's not something to, we're going to work on 5 shots. It's something you need to work on for days, and because it's going to feel different. But at the end of the process, it's going to go, your scores are going to go up.
Correct. And I think another thing to take into account is consistency. So scores going up is one thing, right? We can always say, okay, I want better scores. But what I've found to be more valuable and useful over a shooter's life is more consistency. So like at the beginning, when I started shooting, I'd shoot 85, 95, 89, 96. 88, 98, and you'd have these 5, 10, 15 bird swings in between scores, and you'd go out one day and you break a 99 and you'd be like, oh, I got this game figured out. The next day you're like, watch out, Dave Kelly, Jimmy Heller, Sean Hawley, freaking Dan Benias, here I come. And then the next day you shoot about 81 and you're like, oh. And then, mom's making you a turkey sandwich and you're crying in your bus and you're like, oh, this sucks. And
that's that consistency, and that's just, listen, that's just experience.
Correct. But I think on top of experience, Rick, it's fundamentals, right? Because if you're doing it wrong, you're going to have more inconsistency. If you're doing it right, yeah, your scores might go up, but they're going to hang a little bit tighter. So every time I put something in my game that was a little bit more consistent, my standard deviation drift of scores was much tighter. I didn't have, like, you know, now if I look at my singles, you know,
now you're down to 12 instead of 20. I mean, it's all
Thanks.
No, but that's what it is. It's one of those that you by adding a little more things in your repertoire, you know, you get it. And that's when I always say is have that pre-shot routine. So going back to the class, you know, the one day, you know, the singles, handicap, finish with doubles. You know, end of the day, any discussion anybody wants.
High five, special hat signing deal, all that.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, yeah, it is. You know, all my classes, you know, I'm working on getting some shooting towels done, some other cool stuff done if I can get it in the process, you know, that I give my students and stuff. And then, you know, 2-day class is a little more, we have more time. So a little more work on, you know, the gun fit, so to speak, if needed. But I try to
more time. You have more time.
Yeah, but I make the gun fit the priority, no matter if it's a 1-day or a 2-day, and students understand that. So
you have to.
You know, we're shooting more singles because the singles is the basics of shooting. So we shoot more singles in a 2-day. You know, we're going to shoot probably around 200 targets a day in a 2-day class. You know, the second day is always a little bit shorter of a day, or can be, because it's the shooter.
You've got a 2-day. Yeah, they're wore out by then.
Well, yeah. And, you know, usually I keep it. There's some classes I've done 15 in a 2-day. 10's about the magic number, you know, for the 2-day. Get that done now, going to private lessons. So in a private lesson, you know, it's 1-on-1, 1-on-2, I usually do no more than 3 in a actual private lesson. And it's just, that's me standing behind you, especially 1-on-1. I'm standing behind you every shot. But I do that backing up into the 1-day, 2-day classes. I try to watch every shooter.
And you know, I've watched you do it. You'll go from 5 to 1 600 times during that week, and it's like, man, this guy's walking a lot. I mean, it's a lot. You wear those shoes out. I mean, you're just freaking going back and forth and back and forth.
Jody gives me crap about how many shoes I own. You know, I probably own, I don't know, 25 or 30 pairs of high-end tennis shoes that, you know, Justin Debris and I got into this Adidas, you know, kick here a few years ago, and we were buying.
What's the secret shoe? I got to ask right now. What's the secret shoe?
You know what? It's whatever's on your feet, honestly.
Yeah, but what Adidas's are you wearing?
Well, I wear the Ultra Boost 19s, or I think they're the 20s. 20s or 19s. But lately, I've actually been wearing these Brooks.
I've heard Bullard told me about the On Clouds, and he said those are pretty good. Have you ever dealt with those? Or no?
I tried them. Justin tried them too, and I want a shoe that I'm not sitting in the heel, because if you're sitting in the heel, if you're shooting, you're gonna get that weight kicked back. So, and that's one of the things. You know, prime example. One of my students, Mitchell Pearson. Okay, Mitchell Pearson was wearing, I think what are they called, Hokas or Hookahs?
Yeah, Hokas.
Yeah, the Hokas. And
hookah's the thing you smoke out. Hookah's the shoe.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't do it, so yeah. So he was wearing these, and he was shooting, and I'd watch him, and every shot would be So I told Mark, I said, Mark, listen, if you want Mitchell to improve, you need to go buy him some different shoes. And everybody was like looking at me. This was in Tucson. Mitchell went and got a pair of Brooks. They're called the Beast. And I think he gained 3 yards that week in Tucson. I'm not kidding you.
Well, yeah. And you just kind of stop there for a minute. I mean, I remember back in the day, I was taught on the West Coast, you know, watching Benitez, he was always on the balls of his feet. I see him. 2, Darryl Handy always used to shoot in cowboy boots, and he used to tell everybody you want to be on a heel. And their thought was, you always want to be pressing off the ball of your feet to the target. I mean, you don't want to be on your heels. If you're on your heels, you're too flat-footed. But I guess
when I was a kid, I wore cowboy boots. And when I was 16, 17, 18, I'd wear them and shoot them, especially when I went out west. And it was crazy. And I was like, and that's why all my shoes, it's funny. I go in and when I buy shoes, if I find a pair, like the Ultra Boost, now you can't get them a lot. We buy them on StockX or there's another,
close out, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. But once I find a pair, I'm in. I mean, I'll buy 10, 15 pairs of them.
You got your size is not really a normal size, so it's not like you can get them everywhere you want. Aren't you got like a 13 or something like that?
Yeah. Well, I wear a size 13, but well, and at my size too, you're putting a lot of wear and tear on a tennis shoe.
Well, I wasn't meaning that. I was just meaning like bigger shoes are harder to find. They don't have as many of. They don't have like it's like basketball players. They don't carry size 17 shoes in the store generally. You gotta go get those.
Well, and it's one of the deals is, and you've seen me in the class like we were talking about walking back and forth. Now, I do wear a lot of Merrells when I teach.
Those look pretty comfortable too. I think the general consensus is something that's not completely level, like an athletic runner, something that gets you with a heel up at some level so that you're pressing on the balls, keeping the weight on the balls of your feet, not on that heel position. And
shoot the first one and then loop to the second one and drive through it. Oh, just like that.
Great shot. Shot 2. Great shot.
We're just trying to help every shooter out there, no matter if you're an expert or a beginner, and this product will take your game to the next level.
Works for any of the disciplines. As long as it can find a clay in the image, it will figure out how it's moving and how that shot pattern is going.
Yeah. Now, in that shot, I intentionally shot high, which is most people do.
That's what you did.
Yep. So outside the pattern. Yep. Now, what's it say for the correction of that?
1 foot.
Yep, that'd be correct. Now, in this one, I will smoke the target.
if people want to purchase this unit, what's the best way to do it? I mean, is it through your guys' website? Is there a phone number to call, or what's that situation?
Yeah, go to our website, takeaimtech.com, and an online store. We have inventory. We'll ship usually within 24 hours.
Huge thank you to Jim and Bob at Take Aim Tech for supporting Trap Talk. And, just to kind of decompress what I've heard you say in a clinic, what people can expect, 1, foot position. That's one thing you'll be working on. 2, gun fit, because if you're not getting gun fit, then you're not going anywhere. 3, watching their style and making an adjustment, because, instead of just saying, okay, blanketly, we're going to change styles, we're going to adjust, we're just going to watch and observe and then make critique adjustments. And then 4, it sounds like you do a lot of question and answer session after you've got, some meat on the table.
Oh yeah, do that in the class too while we're shooting. I mean, I'll stop, shut the button off. But I do a lot with your hold points and look points. I mean, like me, I hold on the house and I look through the beads. Now you're on the house, but you look above.
Correct.
Now, going back up to when I did my classes in Florida, and when I went over to private lessons with Bruce Burton and D.W. Prado, Bruce, he has to hold a little bit higher gun, not real high, but just up.
Higher.
But his eyes are actually up higher. Now, I don't recommend that to a lot of people, but with Bruce, it works. He acquires the target that way better, and he's just much smoother.
Everybody moves the gun differently. Everybody's eyes work differently. So you've got to say, okay, there's not a one size fits all. There's just a, what am I dealing with here with this shooter? And here's the other thing I've always thought of is, how many people have the gun set up wrong and they had to learn how to shoot it because it's set up wrong, right? Like maybe this is the way I have to shoot it because this is the way it is, instead of changing it to what would work best for you. And that's something just to think about, right? Like, what kind of style of shooter do you want to be? How do you want to approach and how do you want to attack the target? And what's that look like? This is when is it time to tear your game down and start over again? And that's always a question that I'm dealing with and battling with.
In classes, you want to come in a class with an open mind, number one. Okay. Have an open mind. You know,
Be ready to learn.
Ready to learn. But if there's certain like hesitations, tell me like, hey, this is kind of, and then I'll walk you through like, this is why, but have an open mind. Number one.
Yeah.
Be ready to learn, like Zach just said, because if you're not ready to learn, then you really shouldn't be taking the class, because the whole time you're going to be fighting. Like Zach said, when I came out to the lesson, he's saying, well, what can I learn? Listen, I'm a 33-time All-American, and I still watch stuff, what's going on, and I'll pick up little tidbits here and there. When I need help, the best thing I do, I call Jody. No, I have mama.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I can't 100% remember my state of mind back then, but I know there was a part of me that was like, well, what am I going to really learn this weekend? And, but then there was another part of me that's like, oh, this is Ricky Marshall. He's got rings. He's, been the captain. He's the man. He knows, he's, one of the greatest in the country. And if he can't show me something, then who the hell is going to show me something? Now, I want to go back to feet real quick, because that was important, and I want to spend some time on it. We're talking about pressing on the balls of our feet and not on the heels. And I have known everyone to speak of that to be true, except I've heard rumors of one, and I'm asking you to clarify this for me or not. But I heard from Leo, I guess Carla to Leo, that he used to stand pretty flat-footed and pretty centered with the gravity. Is that correct to your knowledge, or?
Oh, absolutely. Leo was, he's the GOAT. I've got 4 of these.
What, got
Lamont
27.
has 11. Harlan has 12, I think. Leo had 27 or has 27,
Correct. But I guess it brings up the point as a learner and a listener myself, like, everyone I know is forward pressing off the balls of their feet, but Leo was not, correct?
Well, you got to remember the big man, Big L, his size. Number
Very
one thing Leo did, he arm shot. What don't you do in shooting?
You shouldn't arm shoot.
But Leo, and this is prior to Leo teaching, and then when he got into teaching, of course, I never took a lesson with Big L. We discussed a lot of stuff. We had great discussions all the time. We shot together a lot. And I do a lot more talking now. Back then I did a lot more listening and learned a lot of stuff, but
I'm sure you were very shy.
What's that?
I said, I'm sure you were very shy.
I was a quiet young kid. No, shut up. But no, it was just, I was with legends.
Correct. And that's like kind of why, like, I love to listen. Like, I was just even at Wenig yesterday, and Harlan was there, and he was just talking a little bit, and I was listening to what he was saying. I'm like, man, this guy knows a lot.
Hey, we need to get him on the show.
100%. And it was a wealth of knowledge, and he was able to, like, I just asked him some really quick questions because I was getting adjusted, and he was just like, well, have you thought about it this way? And have you thought about that? And I'm like, and I like Harlan a lot. I only see him at the shoots. And he's one of those people that is always kind of over in his area doing his thing. He's not, out and about as much, I would say, as maybe a Ricky, where you're, if I need to find Ricky, I just got to go look at the bar at 6 o'clock. He'll be right there. So,
no. Come on now. Not anymore. We got those in the buildings. We don't have to go too far anymore.
Yeah, you're right. I was just kidding. But no. Like it's, and I think that comes from probably a lot, it's just as many shoots. You start getting to the point where you shoot and you shoot and you shoot and you shoot, and you almost want to just relax a little bit. And I got to take my hat off to you, Rick, because, I was talking to Bullard about this yesterday, and you're like one of the guys that it doesn't matter how many shoots you go to. You always seem energetic to the other side of the shoot, which is having fun and talking with friends and hanging out and doing that other stuff. Like even me, I feel pretty outgoing. And after a couple weeks of hanging out with all of you and shooting, like sometimes I just want to go to my hotel and turn the TV on and not talk to anybody. And you're always been really good at, at the socializing side of the sport and being available.
Yeah. Well, that's what I do. I mean, I don't.
But that's who you are.
I go to shoot, and I always say this: number one rule is have fun. Okay, I just it's you know if you can't have fun, don't be there. And that's my motto is, and I might have a bad day or I might have something else going on, but I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm around my friends, my peeps, you know. I mean, I always tell everybody, you know what? You see me at a shoot, you know, come up and say hi. I got a call yesterday from a gentleman new to shooting, wants to take a class. He's from New Jersey, and he was surprised I called him back. And you know, I said, well, no, I mean, and like my dad always taught me, you know, you put your pants on one leg at a time.
Yeah, we're all friends. I mean, if people call you, people call me. We're going to call you back. I mean,
Exactly.
And everybody's a little busy. Everybody's a little busy, but people understand that. And you know, and I'm always looking to make friends with people and move forward in the sport. I just think it's so interesting how there's so many greats, and that some of them do it like the same way, and some of them do it different. And then there's these people that are out of the box, like you said, like Leo. Leo definitely arm shot. Leo definitely shot on the center of his feet in his gravity, you know, with everything centered over his body and his belly button. And I can remember pairs of doubles where he didn't see that second target real well, and you know, lost it and almost like did a flinch thing on it, and then took his arm and like went over and did one of these like Rich Bullard flings and broke that thing 2 feet off the ground. And I'm like, holy crap, that guy knows how to handle a gun. But
and here's the deal, backing up to Big L, okay, that's one of the things. And I remember when he first started teaching, okay, and a guy asked him, said, hey, I want to shoot like you. And Leo said, well, I can't teach you to arm shoot. It's the bad way to do it. And the guy's like, well, I want to, because if you watched his video, he canted a gun, but guess what? The gun shot where he was looking. So it worked for him, and he did it for 42 years. I think that's what it was. He said so, and it is. It's tough to change, you know, after 42 years. So
yeah, and I mean the fundamentals that he taught were a little different than kind of what he was equipped with based on his size and based on his ability and based on a million rounds of shooting, right? I mean, if you do something that many times, you become ingrained in, hey, this is what I do. This is how I do it. So
makes a huge difference, you know? So that's why I say just, and that's why, you know, the way he did things, it worked for him. Okay. And, you know, I do stuff, it works for me. I'm going to take each student and mold them into making them a better shooter, you know, giving them, you know, options of, hey, let's work on this. Let's do that. You know, set up your pre-shot routine. That's a big thing, you know, discussing that. And that's why, you know, going back to why to take a class, you know, you're going to get knowledge from someone that's done it. You know, I've been shooting for 36 years and been teaching for 28 of those, I guess. I started teaching just kids. And the reason why it was just kids for multiple years was if I said, hey, Zach, do this, you were 15, 16. Okay, you did it. It was like, jump, how high? That's now you get into with an adult that shot a while at times, they would want to have a debate. And that's why I always say, have an open mind and just come in and be like, listen, I want to learn. And if you're thinking, you know, like, well, maybe this, ask questions. That's the number one thing.
Ask questions.
Ask questions, but also there's no dumb question.
There really isn't. I mean, as long as everyone's safe, which in our game, most of the time everyone is safe, and especially when you got somebody like a good instructor like Ricky there, I mean, safety is obviously a given. Then it's just asking questions. It's just, you know, well, what does this mean? And what do you mean by that? And how does that work? And getting into that, it's valuable. And I would tell you, the object of clinics or any of that stuff in my mind is knowledge. And, you know, you're trying to, so I read a lot of books about business or about mindset. I mean, I'm always reading books. And the way I was taught by a mentor of mine was a book allows you to get into the mind of someone else, hear their process and hear, their thoughts and knowledge over the course of their life. And you can, get that condensed in a couple hundred pages, and that's, that's the same way I look at a clinic. If you have Ricky Marshall, Harlan Campbell, Keith Ditto, whoever, right? You have this person that shot all over the country. They have all this knowledge. You're getting a section of their knowledge and their time, and you're replacing, a little bit of money for knowledge. And not that I'm going to implement every single thing that I learn in a clinic, but if I implement one or two things that make me better, well, then it was worth it. And I know some people that have taken clinics from like 5 different people, and they've like, I learned this from this person, this from this person, this from this person. Now, I do think there's something to be said about picking a style and running with it and not like changing that all the time. But I think that knowledge in general is not a bad thing as long as you're using it the right way.
Yeah, that's one of the things is, listen, you hit the nail on the head is, number one, you learn one or two things, but I always say is take notes, okay? Make sure you take notes, and that can be mentally, and then when you get done, go back and write it down. And that's why I always say have the goals, have a sheet, have a journal. That's another thing. I'm gonna try to get some journal books made to hand out to students.
And that's valuable. I mean, and now with technology, I was teaching a class the other day, and the gentleman asked if he could just voice record it, and I said, well, you could voice record it as long as if I don't slip up and say something, you don't put it on the internet. And he laughed, and he said, no, I know you, Zach. You'll be all right. You're pretty good. But,
really?
But
we have to edit these things out, folks. We put such a lot of work into editing because the Zachs over here usually cut. We have to cut us. No, I'm just kidding.
Can't help it. I'm Italian. I was raised in a very hostile environment, and it's just how it was.
Are you talking bad about Big Daddy? Come on.
I would never.
Listen, I've only seen Big Daddy make you bleed a couple times. It's okay.
It's all good. But that being said, I'm doing better. I'm almost able to get through I'm almost able to get through all episodes now, so that's good.
Hey, I've had people ask us if we'll release an unedited version.
That might be like a Trap Fans Only type account that we have in after hours where we can talk about the Ricky Zach stories, grand stories, all the Dave Kelly stories. Like there could be. I mean, if you guys want to hear that stuff, you need to let us know, and maybe we'll try to figure a way out to get it.
But fun. I mean, listen, that's what you're only on this earth one shot.
In 2023 here, we have done 37 state shoots, 7 of the 11 satellite grants. And
we're almost there.
So most of
we now have, I think it's 242 clubs across the country using our system.
If a club was wanting to use you, do you have like a base entry-level pricing or packages that you advertise, or is it based on the size of the shoots, Greg?
Our base level price is $0. Our complete package system, the whole enchilada, is $0.
$0 is a good price.
It's a good price.
The premium members do not pay a pre-squad fee, ever.
Yeah.
For all year.
All year.
Can I buy a lifetime membership?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just going to
Gotta be
say,
your first lifetime membership.
is there a 5
I want to
year?
be number one. Zach,
We want lifetime memberships for me and Ricky.
enjoy it while you're here, and that's why I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I do. I wouldn't be able to do it without my wife, and family behind me and sponsors and
Heck yeah.
Good
you're
people
living
like
the
you,
dream.
Zach. Well, yeah, I mean, you know what? You get Zach to manage your money. You know what? You make a little extra. I mean,
We make a little cash. We keep the dividends spinning so you could be on the trap line. This is what we do. But it really is, to look at when I was a kid, I looked at you, I looked at Leo, even Benias was definitely on the back end of this, but Benias, I looked at Sean, I said, these guys shoot for a living. Like, these are shooters. These are real deal freaking shooters. And that was so far away from me. And, and I can tell you that I'm nowhere in the same hemisphere as being able to shoot for a living, but I've developed a business, and me and you with this podcast and just being able to go and do it. I mean, even for me, I mean, I feel like I'm living the dream a little bit just because I get to go around and do all these shoots. I'm not doing it Ricky Marshall style, full professional, but it's very, very, I mean, the amount of people that you can count are on one hand that only shoot trap for a living. I mean, there's less than 5
you
people
really
in the
don't
country.
do it as a full-time living. I mean, if it was back in the 80s and 90s, you could definitely, make some coin.
Hey, do you think in the 80s and 90s I could have punched through a little bit and been living in a little bit sub-income housing?
I don't know. I mean, hey, hopefully we got some people coming on. If we can get them on, some legends from the past, that can talk about those days.
Well, we got one that said they would, Britt Robertson, and he said he wants to be on the show. And
we're gonna get Britt on there.
trying.
I can tell you, I shot with Britt at the Grand when I was 17 years old during the prelims, and I was like, wow. I mean, just the abilities of this man. And so it's going to be a great episode if we can get him on. And
the biggest thing with him is he told me it's just the technology. He doesn't really have
we'll get him on his iPhone. I mean, hey,
we're going to have to do it on his iPhone and figure it out, but he's definitely in. So, I think we covered a whole lot of good information today. This gives me gets me excited to learn more even. And I think with these clinics you got coming up, I'm excited for the people that are attending them. I'm hoping they can learn some stuff. I'm sure they will. And and we're going to punch into a heavy new season. I mean, it's already January. We're already almost at the Spring Grand, which once that happens, we're rolling.
I know it's like it's boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I've been home a little bit and with ShotCo, and then lessons before that, then lessons afterwards at Tucson, and then lessons in California. And then come to the Spring Grand and such, and then we go
right to Florida.
We'll be home a week, and then we're heading to Florida to the Southern Grand.
Right to Florida, baby. I'm excited. We're gonna get our sandals and our suntan lotion. We're ready.
Hey, you never know in Florida. It can be good, or we can get some rain. It is what it is, but
it is what it is
down there. So, and then after that, it's I won't shoot again till the Western Grand, but I'll be teaching. I've got a lot of big group lessons. I've got a 2-day lesson in New Jersey, then followed up the next day with the youth shoot at Pine Valley Gun Club that's sponsored by Krieghoff.
Yep.
So we're going to do an episode. We're going to get the guys there from Pine Valley on and talk about their youth shoot coming up, that hopefully we can promote it and get some more youth teams out there. They give away cold hard cash, to the teams.
And I wish I was a youth.
Yeah, hey, exactly. Maybe you come. Maybe we'll get some. I got some eligibility. I mean, but no, it's high school kids. So, it's going to be a good time. And then it's boom, boom, boom. I mean, I'm teaching, every weekend during the week.
It don't stop. It really doesn't. So, it's just a movement. I'm excited. I appreciate everyone listening and tuning in to this episode, and we'll see you all next Friday.
Yeah. Let us know. Text us, email, any questions, get on it. Thanks, everybody.
And the Trap Talk podcast is brought to you in part by
RM Shooting Clinics. Have Ricky take your game to the next level. If you want to shoot hundreds, give Ricky a call today. Zach Nannini Financial. We believe in putting people first.